My beloved child, do not take lightly the moments when I cover your life with stillness. When you rush past the time I am quietly arranging, you are sowing into your own life a crisis you could have avoided. I choose this very moment not to slow you down, but to save you from what you have not yet seen. Do not resist my silence, for there I am rebuilding your destiny. Do not be quick to fear when I am silent. I am only pulling you out of a dark alley you yourself cannot see. I do not hide myself to abandon you, but so that you may know that light appears only to those who stop and turn toward me. The day I set apart for you is not a day of delay, but the day I redirect your life so that you no longer lose yourself. There was a time when the prophet Elijah fled into the wilderness, his heart full of fear and despair. He longed for the Lord to speak in the storm, to prove that he was still there. But I did not come in the mighty wind that tore the mountains apart, nor in the earthquake that shook the land, nor in the fire blazing across the sky. I came to Elijah in a gentle whisper, a sound that, had his heart been even a little more restless, he would never have heard. You are like Elijah. You long for me to answer with miracles, with a clear and visible appearance. Yet I often seek you in the quiet, where your heart is no longer noisy, and where you truly want me more than you want an answer. There are days when I deliberately place you in a pause, not to make you lose your way, but to separate you from the things that are blurring your vision. You think silence is a sign that I have turned my back on you, but in truth it is the sign that I am drawing you closer. Only when the noise of the world softens can you hear what I am gently saying. And only when all the doors you cling to finally close can you receive the door I have long held open for you. Sometimes I let you wait because you do not yet know what you are asking for. You demand an answer at once. But if I gave it to you while you were still immature, that blessing would become a burden. I allow silence to cover you, not to test you in the way you imagine, but so that you yourself may see that what you hold on to does not truly make you stronger. It only draws you further from me. And when you are willing to stop, then I can break the chains that bind you. Do not think I am slow simply because you do not see me working. My child, most of what I do takes place in the hidden places where your eyes cannot see, but your heart is invited to believe. I am mending your soul, rearranging every broken piece of your life, and preparing the way for something that, if it came too early, you would not know how to keep. That silence is not an empty space. It is my hand quietly making you new. My child, remember this. Any moment I set apart along your journey carries a meaning your natural eyes cannot see. You often walk into those days in a hurry, as if they were just random pieces of your schedule. But I am never random. When I choose a time, it is because I want to shine a light on your motives, heal the wounds you never speak of, and correct the path you have unconsciously drifted from. If you take lightly the days I have shaped for you, the blessing will pass by as softly as the wind, and you will not even feel it. For in the times when I am silent, I am marking your path again, and if you pass through carelessly, you will not only lose your rhythm, but you will lose what I am placing in your hands. My child, have you noticed that the days in your life that seem the most dull are often the very days when I am working the most quietly? You often want me to answer at once, to show up in miracles, in a thunderous voice, yet I choose to remain silent. It is not because I am distant, but because I want you to know that true blessings do not arrive in noise. They sprout in the quiet spaces of faith. You live in a world that loves to measure everything by speed, and because of that, you are losing the ability to recognize the sacred things that unfold in secret. The time I mark out for you is never a delay, it is a promise. I am waiting for your heart to become still enough to realize that grace does not come when you demand it, but when you stop to listen. You know, many times you hurry past the day I have appointed for you simply because you think it is just an ordinary day. Yet in that very ordinariness, I have prepared a wake-up call for your soul. If you always walk on restless feet, you will never see the footsteps I am leaving right behind you. You do not realize that I have set those days apart so that you can examine your heart, so that I may see whether you are chasing blessings or seeking the one who gives them. I do not want you to repeat the same kind of days, living without knowing why you exist. I want you to learn to bow, to stop, and to ask, Lord, where am I in your plan? It is in the moment you ask that question that I will lead you out of the haze in which you have been drowning. And my child, I know there are still dark corners in your heart that you do not yet want me to touch. You are afraid that when I ask you to stop, you will have to face the things you have been avoiding, your fears, your weaknesses, even the failures you have not forgiven yourself for. But let me tell you this, you cannot truly move forward until you allow me to shine my light into those hidden places. The time I mark out for you is not for you to rest in laziness, but to rest in grace, where I touch your wounds and turn them into evidence of restoration. When I compel you to pause, it is because I am teaching you how to walk again with healed feet. Do not see stopping as a waste of time, for in quietness and in trust shall be your strength. Isaiah 3:0-15. I have watched so many souls pass through the seasons I appointed for them without ever recognizing their value. They say that I do not listen, yet they themselves have never been still long enough to hear me. You are the same. Many times you ask me to make a way, but then you run ahead of me in impatience. I allow you to stumble, not to make you suffer, but to teach you that the paths I have not permitted you to take always hold dangers you cannot yet see. I want you to understand that every season I create has its own purpose. If you refuse to stand still, you will lose the chance to witness the miracle that grows out of waiting. Like a farmer who sows seed, he does not see the shoot the very next day. Yet beneath the soil, life is being born. Do not think I am only present when everything is bright and clear. I am there even in the dim afternoons, when you feel the most empty and alone. The time I mark is often the moment of your greatest weakness, so that you may know my grace is sufficient for you, and my power is made perfect in your weakness. Believe this when I make you wait. I am not silent to punish you. I am rebuilding the faith that once shattered within you. You have forgotten that I love you with an unchanging love, yet I cannot give you what you are not ready to receive. So I step back for a time, that you may learn to stand firm not by what you possess, but by me alone. Then, when you know how to place me at the center, I will open up what you once thought was lost forever. There are times when I see you walking forward without ever asking whether the direction you have chosen is the one I am leading you in. You assume that every open door is a sign of blessing. But my child, not every opportunity comes from me. Some doors open to test your heart, to see whether you are mature enough to say no to what does not belong to me. The time I mark out is meant to teach you to discern between what is good and what is right. If you keep rushing to choose what merely seems good, you will lose the ability to recognize what truly belongs to me. Remember, real blessing does not come from what you possess, but from where you stand in your relationship with me. I have watched you blame yourself many times, telling yourself that you missed the moment, that you let the blessing slip away. But my child, I want you to know I am not the one who counts your mistakes. I am the one who makes all things new. The time I marked for you may have been overlooked, but if you return, I will reopen that door only this time. You will step through it with greater wisdom. I do not erase your past. I use it to teach you how to see the present with the eyes of faith. So do not live in regret over the days that have gone by. Offer them to me, and I will turn them into seed for the season to come. My beloved child, what I desire from you is not perfection, but a heart that can recognize my timing. When I call you to come, do not hesitate. When I tell you to stop, Do not resist, for I always know when you need to rest and when you need to move. If you trust and surrender, you will see everything fall into place like pieces of a pattern I have prepared beforehand. You will understand that there is no delay in my plan, only timely intervention. And one day, you will realize that every time I marked out for you was a season of love, where I taught you patience and where you learned the true meaning of what it is to be blessed. Then you will no longer ask, "Lord, where are you?" For you will see me in every peaceful breath, in every moment that once seemed empty. You will realize that I was never absent. It is only that you never stood still long enough to sense me. And in that moment, your heart will grow so quiet that you will clearly hear my whisper, "My child." This very time is when I am renewing. You do not miss it any longer. And when your heart begins to soften, you will understand that not every silence is to be feared, and not every waiting is meaningless. I am silent to build, not to destroy. I pause to lift you up, not to push you down. And in every moment you choose to trust me, even when you see nothing. In that very moment you are growing in faith. My child, do not be afraid of the quiet days, for they are the sign that I am closer than ever. And from that very still place, you will soon hear a gentle call inviting you into a new season, where I not only test your heart, but also lead you deeper into the love I have prepared for you from the very beginning. My child, when I am silent, you often think I have gone away. You begin to doubt my love, and you ask, "Lord, are you still there?" But my child, it is precisely in the moments when you hear nothing that I am doing far more than you imagine. I am testing whether your heart still turns toward me when there is no answer, whether you still trust me when you see no sign. My silence is not an empty space, but the place where I watch and refine your faith. Do you know this? My child, the seed of faith does not sprout on the noisy surface of the earth, but only takes root in the stillness of the soil. And in that same stillness, I see clearly what you truly trust in, me, or your own feelings. Many times I let you walk into the desert, not to torment you, but to purify you. When I withdraw the things you are used to, that is when I am stripping from you your dependence on what can never save your soul. You call it loss, but I call it deliverance. You call it silence, but I call it refining. My child, you would never know how strong you are if I did not let you walk a stretch of the road with no one but you and me. Just as gold must pass through fire to shine, so your heart must pass through stillness before it can reflect true faith. When he has tested me, I will come forth as pure gold. Job 2:3-10. Do not be afraid when you do not hear me, because sometimes my loudest voice is silence. I do not remain quiet because I have nothing to say, but because I want you to learn to listen with your soul and not only with your ears. When you cry out and see no answer, it is not rejection, but an invitation to go deeper into communion with me. I want you to go beyond the layer of emotions, where you expect me to respond quickly, into the depths of faith, where you know that even when I do not speak, I am still at work. When you reach that place, you will find a peace that does not depend on circumstances, but on the simple knowing that my God is still here. But I know you are a fragile creature. You fear silence because it forces you to hear yourself, to face the truest part of your heart, the part you have tried to cover with noise, with work, with relationships, or with busyness. I allow you to be alone, not so that you collapse, but so that you realize nothing in this world can fill the emptiness made only for me. When every sound around you fades, you will hear the breathing of your own soul and recognize that it is longing for me. Only when you have nothing left to cling to will you begin to take hold of the one thing that never changes, my love. You ask me, why don't you speak? But I ask you, Why won't you be still, my child? Many times I have spoken, but you could not hear because your heart was filled with complaints and doubts. You pray, but you do not wait to hear my reply. You speak too much and give me no space to speak. I want you to know that your relationship with me is not only about asking, but about conversation. And conversation means there are moments when you must be quiet in order to listen. When you learn to be still, you will see that I have been there from the beginning. It was only that you were too noisy to notice me. I have seen you rush to conclusions just because of a season when I was silent. You thought I had forgotten you, while in truth I was simply testing whether you would keep walking when there was no light. Do you know, my child, that every soul that matures in me must pass through the dark night of faith, not so that they become weaker, but so that they will know that true faith does not rely on proof. I do not want you to live by feelings, for feelings change, but faith endures. The more you walk through silent nights, the more you will learn to trust in me instead of trusting your own emotions. My child, remember that my silence is always intentional. I am never quiet without a reason. Every pause I create carries a hidden lesson. Sometimes I am silent to teach you patience. Sometimes I am silent to teach you obedience. And sometimes I am silent so you will know that I am God, not you. Only when you can no longer control things will you truly hand over control to me. And only when you know how to stop will you learn how to walk with me instead of walking ahead of me. Let me remind you of this. My child, my quietness is not an ending, but the beginning of a new season. For only when a seed lies still in the ground can it break open and bring forth life. You are in that very process, the germinating of faith. You do not yet see the shoot, but I am nourishing the root. You do not yet see the flower, but I am working beneath the surface. Do not be hasty, my child, for if you dig up the seed halfway just to see if it has grown, you will kill the life I am nurturing within it. When I am silent, look back at yourself. Are you listening with faith or with fear? Are you demanding an answer? Or are you ready for my leading? Sometimes what I desire is not to give you an answer, but to teach you to become the answer for someone else. My child, let me teach you to love, to be patient, and to be quiet as I am. For only when you know how to keep your heart still will you become the truest reflection of me in this chaotic world. And when you begin to understand that silence is a part of love, you will no longer be afraid when I do not speak. You will see that the empty spaces I leave are in fact promises. I am silent so you will seek, I hide so you will thirst, and I delay so you will learn to slow your steps. In that very process, you are being shaped to be strong enough to receive the greater things I am preparing. My child, I have never left you. I am simply working in the quiet. And then, when you have gone through such days, you will realize that my silence is one of the deepest ways I love you. For it means I trust that you can stand, that you can believe me without seeing. That is the measure of faith I desire for you, the place where even in silence you still know that I am your Lord. And when your heart finds rest in that truth, I will speak again, not with thunder, but with a gentle voice. I am still here. My child, now keep on walking, for I have seen your heart strong enough to enter into the new things. My child, there are times when I call you in stillness, but you do not hear because your heart is full of the echoes of the world. You chase after what your eyes can see and your ears can hear, until you no longer recognize my voice softly sounding within your soul. When you ignore my invitation in silence, you not only lose your peace, but you open the door for chaos to step in. You grow confused, lose your sense of direction, and become afraid of what you cannot understand. My child, I am not the one who makes you bewildered. It is you who have allowed the noise to drown out my voice. For I never speak in the storm, I speak in the gentle breeze, and only those who know how to be still will hear me. You once asked me, why do I pray and see nothing change? But my child, if your heart still clings to what is temporary, my words will touch only your ears and never reach your heart. You ask me to lead you, yet you keep your hand tightly on the wheel because you fear that the road I choose will not match your desires. That is when you begin to lose your way. When I call you back through stillness, you seek comfort again in the noise where many voices speak, but mine does not. My child, faith is not measured by what you hear, but by whether you know how to wait in silence. When you do not stand still, you will always miss my voice, and the result is that you lose your way right in the place where I once guided you. There are moments when you think I have abandoned you, but in reality, you have only gone too far to hear me. You have filled your heart with other words, other worries, your own plans, until my word is buried underneath, like a traveler carrying too much luggage. You no longer have the strength to receive what I want to give. You demand light, yet you close your eyes. You ask for direction, yet you refuse to stop walking. I allow you to stumble, not to hurt you, but so that you may understand that no guidance is safer than my word. When you finally stop, in the midst of the clamor of life, you will hear a gentle whisper, my child, come back to me, and if you are willing to turn around, you will see that I am still standing there, like a father who has never abandoned his wandering child. My sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me. John 1:027. These words, my child, are not only an affirmation, but also an invitation, for you can only hear my voice when your heart is quiet enough to recognize it. When you try to control everything, you are no longer listening to me, but only to your own fears. I have seen you seeking answers in the wrong places, asking people instead of asking your Lord, asking the world instead of asking your own heart before me. But all you receive in return is confusion, because no one can tell you what only I know. I call you back, not to condemn you, but to heal you. I want you to sit down, breathe, and listen, for only in stillness can I show you which way is true. My child, confusion does not come from me, but from your own unsettled heart. When you let the world define your worth, you will always have to change to be accepted. When you let your emotions lead the way, you will forever stand at crossroads, unsure which path is right. I have given you my word. I have given you light. But if you never let your heart grow still, that light will never truly shine in. I do not force you to listen, I simply wait patiently. I do not shout to prove myself, I simply stand firm in love, to see whether you will be brave enough to be silent and listen. There is one thing I want you to understand when you move away from stillness. You move away from me, for I am not found in the clamor. I dwell in hearts that know how to listen. The more you let fear rule you, the less you can distinguish my voice from the voice of your own heart. And when you lose that discernment, you will walk in a fog of confusion. I do not want you to live like that. My child, I want you to stop, to sit down, and to let me speak. You do not need to understand everything. You only need to believe that every word I speak carries life. I know there are times when you feel as if your heart were dry ground, with no strength left to pray and no will left to believe. But, my child, do not be afraid. It is precisely in that drought that I will send rain. You only need to open your heart and not walk away too quickly. Stay, even when you have not yet heard anything. For when you choose to stay, you are saying to me, I believe you are still here, even when I do not see you. And it is exactly that faith, small yet genuine, That becomes the place where I begin to restore all things. I will turn uncertainty into clarity, fear into peace, and silence into a song of thanksgiving. My child, remember that every time I am silent, it is an opportunity for you to learn how to listen. Do not run away from stillness, for that is the classroom of the soul. The more you run, the more weary you become, the more you hurry, the farther you drift. But when you are willing to stop, every door will gradually open. I will show you that what you thought was lost is, in fact, only waiting for the day of restoration. And I will teach you that peace is not the absence of trials, but knowing that I still hold all things in my hands in the midst of those trials. One day, when you look back, you will understand that the silent intervals which once frightened you were precisely the places where I spoke the most important words. You will realize that I never left you. I simply chose a different way to speak, not with many words, but with my presence. And when you have learned to hear me in the quiet, you will no longer fear the dark days, because you know that the very place where no sound is heard is where I am teaching you to listen by faith. As that faith grows, you will be ready to step into a new journey where you not only hear my voice, but also live out that calling with a peace and confidence deeper than ever before. My child, I have seen you trying to control everything in your own way, from the timing and results to the path you think is best. You still ask me to make a way, yet in your heart you secretly draw your own map. You say that you trust me, but in truth you only want me to agree with your plans. My child, you cannot ask me to lead while you are afraid of losing control. For as long as your hands cling to the steering wheel, I cannot truly be your guide. The more tightly you try to hold everything, the more exhausted you become, the more afraid you are to let go. The farther you drift from me, because I cannot give what you are not yet willing to receive. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will act. Psalm 3:7-5. I do not want you to live like someone wrestling against the very one who created you. You forget that I am not only the God of miracles, but also the God of order and peace. When you resist the direction I give, you are like one who struggles against the current of grace. I know you fear losing, fear not having enough, fear being left behind. But, my child, you do not realize that in trying so hard to protect what you believe is yours, you are building walls that keep me from stepping in to give you what truly belongs to you. You always want me to act according to your schedule, while I am waiting for you to listen to mine. If you keep running, you will never see that grace has been following you all along, simply waiting for you to stop so it can touch you. You think that if you stop doing, everything will fall apart. You are afraid to release your grip because you have grown used to carrying everything alone. But, my child, I am the one who upholds this whole world by my word. Would I somehow be unable to hold your life? I want you to learn to trust me, not only when everything is going smoothly, but also when you do not understand what is happening. I am not asking you to be perfect, I am asking you to be dependent. For I am not looking for the strong. I choose those who know they are weak, so that I may show my strength in them. When you let go of control, that is when I begin to move. My child, I know that surrender is not easy. You have long lived by reason, measured life by results, and believed that control is the only way to be safe. But true safety is not found in you managing everything. It is found in knowing who is holding you. I want you to step out of the comfort zone you built for yourself, a place where you think you are secure. Yet your soul is secretly imprisoned by fear. As you keep trying to steer your little boat through the storm, you only wear yourself out more. But when you place the oars in my hands, you will see the sea grow calm. For the wind and the waves know who I am. There are times when you tell me that you trust me, yet your heart is full of backup plans. You say you have surrendered, but you still cling to what you fear losing most. You want me to change everything, yet you do not want me to touch what you are still holding on to. My child, a half surrender will only bring you a half healing. I cannot make new what you insist on keeping old. When I seek to break off a dead branch, you are afraid of losing its shade, not knowing that I am preparing for you a green garden. You keep asking me to bless you, but true blessing cannot come while you still live the old way, being your own master and forgetting that I am Lord. Do you know that sometimes what exhausts you is not your circumstances, but the silent resistance in your heart? You are not weary because the road is too long. You are weary because you keep trying to walk without listening to my instructions. I have placed a direction within you, yet you circle around and around because you fear that my way is too different from what you are used to. My child, you cannot run after the call of the world and at the same time expect me to open the gates of heaven. Those two directions cannot coexist. The more you resist, the deeper you sink into fatigue. But when you yield to my will, you will discover that surrender is not defeat. It is the beginning of peace. I have seen you pray in tears, asking me to renew you. Yet when I begin to touch what must be changed, you resist. You want me to rescue you, but you do not want me to reshape you. You want me to make a way, yet you fear that I will change your course. My child, I cannot pour new wine into old wineskins. If you truly desire transformation, you must allow me to cleanse within. I do not want you to merely adjust the surface. I long to transform the very roots of your soul. And that begins when you say to me, Lord, I do not understand, but I choose to trust you. In that moment, my power will flow through you like fresh water, washing away every burden and every doubt you have carried. My dear child, I do not rebuke you for being afraid. I understand that your weakness makes you anxious when you must walk by faith. But remember, faith is never the easiest road. It is only the safest one when I am the one leading you. When you dare to release what you think you cannot live without, I will place in your hands what you truly deserve. When you stop striving to do in order to be loved, you will understand that I loved you even before you did anything at all. My child, I am not waiting for you to become good enough before I act. I act in order to make you new. I am inviting you back to a life of faith, a way of living where you no longer strive, no longer calculate, but simply follow. I do not promise that this path will be easy, but I promise you will never walk it alone. When you learn to let go, you will know what true freedom is. When you stop trying to control everything, you will see that I am guiding all things for your good. And when you place your trust in me more than in yourself, you will no longer fear the future, because you know that whatever happens, I am still leading you in the right direction. My child, do not live as though you must fight against me in order to be safe. Let me protect you with the very love I paid for on the cross. Let me steer the boat of your life even when you cannot see the shore. For I already know where the shore is, and I will bring you safely there. You only need one thing to trust me, even when I am silent, even when I seem slow to act, even when you do not understand. For true faith does not lie in understanding everything, but in trusting completely. And when you have learned this, I will lead you to a place where every storm grows small before the peace I place within you. And, my child, it is precisely when you learn to follow me without demanding terms that you will see the doors of blessing swing open. For obedience always precedes the miracle. I am not silent to hold you back. I am silent to teach you how to hear me in the gentle breeze. When you begin to understand that surrender is not loss, but gain, then I will set before your eyes things you never imagined could be. My child, now rest in my hands. For you have learned the most precious lesson. You cannot live by your own will and still expect me to make a way. Because when you let me lead, every path will lead you into peace. My child, you still think that as long as you act, as long as you strive, as long as you never stop moving forward, you will quickly arrive at the place I desire. But you forget that there are times when I am not calling you to do anything but to stand still. The more you struggle, the more you stir up the waters that were already clear, the more you try to prove something. The farther you drift from the wisdom I have already planted in you. My child, if you do not stand still before me, you will not see what I am doing. For my light does not shine upon restless souls. It shines upon hearts that know how to wait in quietness. I have seen you run from place to place, seeking counsel, seeking signs, seeking a feeling of reassurance. But, my child, peace is not found in an answer, it is found in my presence. When you are too busy to remain with me, you lose the most precious gift, the awareness of what I am doing in your life. You ask, Lord, where are you when everything is in chaos? Yet I am there. Right in the midst of the storm, it is only that your noise drowns out my voice that whispers, be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. You think that standing still means being left behind, but the very moment you are willing to stop, you will see that I have been working all along for your very best. My child, I do not need you to run faster. I only need you to pause so you can see the way clearly. When you stand still, I will open your eyes to things you could never see while rushing the real opportunities, the people I am sending to you, and the very door I am preparing to open. I never work in confusion. I work within the order of peace. If your heart remains restless, blessings will pass by like the wind. But when your heart is calm, all that I have planned will unfold, step by step, gentle as the dawn after the night. You only need to believe this when I tell you to stand still. It is because I, myself, am fighting for you, my beloved child. You often think that waiting is useless, but in truth, it is in the waiting that I am shaping your faith. I want you to learn to trust me more than you trust speed. Do not forget that I am never late. It is you who often arrive too soon. You seek immediate results, while I desire a heart mature enough to hold those results. Every miracle begins with a season of waiting, just as Abraham waited, as Job waited, as Mary waited in silence. They were not called weak, they were called believers. My child, when you know how to stand still in faith, you too step into the company of those who believe. I know that deep inside, there are still vague fears in you. You are afraid that if you do not act, everything will disappear. You are afraid that if you do not cling, you will lose what you love. But my child, there are things that are only truly kept when you let them go. The more you try to control, the more blind you become to what I am doing. Yet when you choose to be still, I will show you clearly that what truly belongs to you will never leave you. I will help you see that what you think is slowing down is in fact only me making it settle firm. Let me set the timing, for only I know which moment is best for a blessing to bloom. You know, I am not silent in order to punish you, but in order to mend you. I do not slow things down to discourage you, but so that you may learn to be grateful for the small things. The more hurried you are, the more blind you become to the signs I am scattering along the way. You ask for light, but you will not stop long enough to receive it. You want me to open a door, yet you keep running down another alley. My child, do not confuse activity with progress. The busier you are, the poorer your soul becomes. I am not calling you to do more, I am calling you to live deeper. And only when you are willing to be still will you truly see that everything I have promised is taking shape. slow but sure. When you stop, you will begin to see things you never expected. You will see that I am weaving invisible threads all through your life, turning failures into foundations, turning your tears into seeds of grace. You will see that I have never been far away. It is only that you have never stopped long enough to look. I want you to know that sometimes the miracle does not come from what you do, but from what you stop doing. When you cease striving, let go of control, and simply say, Lord, here I am. I will step in and do the rest. My child, there are those who walk through an entire lifetime and never truly see what I am doing, simply because they refuse to be still. They run past me without recognizing me, because their hearts are always leaning forward and never looking around. I do not want you to be like them. I want you to live more slowly, so that every breath you take becomes a prayer. Do not rush to judge what I am doing based on a passing feeling, for if you knew everything, you would no longer need me. I remain silent so that you may learn that faith is not understanding it all, but trusting even when you do not yet understand. One day, when you have learned how to be still, you will discover something wondrous. I have been at work even when you were doing nothing. I have been writing your story even when you thought it had come to a halt. And in that very silence, you will hear the whisper I have spoken from the beginning. You have not been left behind. I am still here. Be still and watch the work I am doing, my child. This is not only a word of comfort but a call, for when you learn to remain in my peace, everything else will find its proper place. And then, when your heart has learned the art of being still, I will open your eyes to see clearly what once seemed dark and unclear. You will understand that nothing in my plan has been abandoned halfway. There are only things being brought to completion in perfect time. My child, when you stop running and are willing to remain, I will show you that everything I do, whether in silence or in action, is born of my unchanging love for you. And then you will smile, because you will know that I have never forsaken you. I have only been teaching you how to see light in the silence, and peace in my very hands. My dear child, there will come a very specific, unmistakably clear moment, which I myself am now preparing and placing into your hands as an answer that cannot be confused with anything else. It will not be a vague feeling, nor a half-hearted opportunity that leaves you guessing, but a gentle yet profound revelation. When everything naturally falls into place without you having to force it or arrange it according to your own will. I have been working quietly through the days you thought were empty. I have been weaving together connections, people, circumstances, and doors that seemed unrelated, so that at the right moment you will look back and whisper, "If it were not the Lord, no one could have done this." You will no longer feel the need to strain to hold on, to live in constant fear that it will slip out of your hands, because what I give you will carry a very different kind of peace, not a peace that comes from everything aligning perfectly with your desires, but from the deep assurance that it comes from my hand, the one who has seen every step of your path in advance, including your stumbles and the times you chose the wrong road. I do not give you something merely to dazzle you for a moment and then leave you empty afterward. I do not work the way this world does, offering you flashy illusions that stir your emotions but leave your soul hollow. When I work, I always work in a complete way, all the way down to the roots, so that even in difficult days, what I have given still carries weight and meaning. For this reason, you will recognize my imprint not by the noise on the outside, but by the quieting of your heart within. What I am preparing for you is not a gift designed to impress others before their eyes, but a grace that will make your soul stand firm, even when people do not understand how you can be so at peace. You will find that you no longer feel compelled to protect it in fear, because what comes from me will be kept by me. Your task is not to control, but to cooperate with me in obedience. walking step by step under my guidance, neither rushing ahead nor dragging your feet. My child, when I say that I am sending you a sign, it does not mean that I suddenly appear and then disappear just as quickly. Rather, I have been quietly preparing your heart for a long time through lessons you have had to learn, through the times you were forced to stop, through tears of disappointment, through questions that seem to have no answer. None of these things are meaningless. They are the foundation so that when what I give arrives, you will be mature enough to recognize and cherish it. If I were to show you everything while you were still impatient, impulsive, and only chasing short-term gain, you would turn the gift into a burden, or worse, you would misuse it. So I choose to wait, to be silent, to let you walk through days that feel dry and barren, so that by the time you receive what I have prepared, your heart is softer, deeper, less demanding, ready to live as a faithful steward rather than a child who only knows how to possess. You will come to recognize my work not through things that are loud and dramatic, but through a quiet yet unmistakable fit. It will be like the final piece of a puzzle being set in place, not noisy, not disrupting the picture, simply making everything that came before suddenly make sense. The questions that once left you confused will no longer terrify you, because you will begin to see them as necessary links that brought you to this very day. I want you to understand that what I give you is not meant merely to decorate your life, but to complete what I began long ago. I am the one who starts and the one who finishes. So everything that comes from me has a clear purpose, a rightful place, and a precise time. You do not need to cram it into your life by force. It will blend in naturally, and you will realize, all along, I have been prepared for this. What is special is that when my sign comes, it will not push you into pressure but lead you into a deeper stillness. I do not send you opportunities that demand you trade your peace for a little success. I do not lead you through doors where you must lose yourself just to keep what is on the other side. What is from me will never pull you away from me. On the contrary, it will make you want to seek me more, pray more, and give thanks more. You will sense a light dawning in your mind, not a frantic feeling of, I must act now, or I will miss my chance, but a gentle certainty that says, now is the time. This harmony does not come from your clever calculations, but from my intervention, my arranging, my opening of the way, and at the same time my reshaping of your heart so that you no longer resist my will. My beloved, it is no accident that everything begins to grow clear at the same time your heart softens. Old wounds no longer provoke the same bitterness. Things that once frightened you suddenly lose their power to threaten you. This is because during all the time you thought I was silent, I was diligently at work within you. I have been loosening each knot in your thinking, healing each hidden corner in your memories, changing even the small habits of how you react, so that when what I have appointed finally appears, you will no longer sabotage it with fear, doubt, or the old pattern of destroying the good that comes to you. Do you see, I am not only preparing the thing outside for you, I am preparing you yourself for what is to come. For true blessing is not only I place something new in your hands, but I transform the heart that will hold it. There will come a moment when you look back at all the times you clung to things that were never really yours, relationships, jobs, plans you thought you could not live without, and you will smile with a tender understanding, realizing that if I had yielded to your will back then, you would have no room today to receive something better. I allowed certain doors to close not because I wanted to hurt you, but because they did not bear my imprint. You shed tears over those losses, but in time you will see that it was those very tears that purified your desires, helping you to loosen your grip on what is temporary. Now, as I lead you to another door, You will enter no longer with the posture of possessing, but with gratitude and with the clear awareness. If the Lord does not keep this, I cannot keep it. As you begin to realize that I am moving with precision in every detail, you will gradually let go of the habit of comparing yourself to others. You will no longer need to look at someone else's life and feel inferior, because you will understand that the timing, the manner, and the path by which I lead each person are all different. You will cease forcing yourself to measure up to others in order to feel worthy. You will recognize that the grace I have for you is neither late nor misplaced. It comes at the very moment you need it most, when it will not turn you into someone proud, but into someone humble. This awareness will steady your heart even in days when you still see nothing clearly. For you will no longer demand that I prove everything at once. You will only need to know that I am with you and that I do not make mistakes in the way I work. My child, in order to recognize the imprint of my hand, you need to keep your heart soft enough to receive and sensitive enough to perceive. That is why I am always inviting you to live fully in the present moment, to pay attention to the small things I am doing around you each day, a timely word of comfort, a little door quietly opening, a gentle peace that settles in the midst of a pressured day, a moment when you almost fell into a mistake but were held back. These details that seem so trivial are in fact the quiet language I use to tell you, I am still here. I am preparing. If you are always rushing, always chasing after something big and sensational, you will pass by these small signs. But if you are willing to slow down and lift your eyes to me more often, you will begin to see each small piece slowly joining together, preparing for a greater picture that only I can see in advance. I call you not to wait only for some day of breakthrough, but to let me renew your heart day by day. For it would be of little use for you to enter a new season carrying the same old heart. The precision of my plan always comes with an invitation to you. Open your heart wider. Give me the right to reshape the way you think, the way you love, the way you choose. You are not required to be perfect before I act, but you are invited to cooperate with me so that what I give will not be spoiled by your own hands. This is not a burden but an honor. You are given the grace to walk with me, not merely stand aside and receive gifts. You are free to ask me questions, free to pour out your fears, free to say that you are not yet ready, and I will patiently lead you step by step. I do not force you, I wait. But when the time has come, I will open your eyes clearly so that you may see that what I am doing is no accident. My child, there will come a time when you stand in the middle of a day that seems utterly ordinary and suddenly sense a strange movement deep within. No more panic, no more restless impatience, but a quiet confidence that a new chapter is beginning. No one will need to confirm it for you, because I, myself, will bear witness in your heart. I will use my word, a verse of scripture that comes alive at just the right moment, a song that touches exactly what you are carrying inside, a sharing spoken by someone who does not even realize they are speaking straight into your life to affirm, yes, this is the time I promised. In that moment, you will no longer fear the future in the old way, because you will have tasted my faithfulness in the past. You will dare to step out, dare to answer my call, not because you are confident in yourself, but because you trust the one who loved you to the point of not sparing the cross for your sake. Therefore, from this day on, learn to live awake and attentive. Do not let your heart be stretched thin by meaningless things. Do not let each day slip by in the endless cycle of must do, must achieve, must keep up with others. Give your soul room to breathe so that I may have space to place within it my reminders, my whispers, my gentle leadings. Cherish every moment, for I use this very present time, not some vague day in the future, to prepare you for what I am about to do. Keep your heart open to me. Do not close it off because of old wounds. Keep your mind sensitive to my voice. Do not let the noise of the world drown it out. When you live this way, you will not only recognize my fingerprints on the so-called big days, but even in the most ordinary of days you will see my hand skillfully arranging all things for you. And then you will understand I have never missed an appointment. I have never stepped out of time. I have never forgotten a single tear of yours. Everything is being woven together by me with precision, tenderness, and deep love, so that when you finally receive what I give, you will be able to say with all your heart, Lord, everything you have done for me is so wonderfully good, my beloved child. The day that is drawing near will not be merely a milestone on the timeline of your life, but a meeting point between what is old and what is new, between who you once were and who you are becoming. You will realize that every weary step, every tear that seemed so pointless, has in fact been leading you to this very moment. For I have seen you long before you ever noticed that you were being seen. Every word I whispered to you in silent nights, words you thought were only the sound of the wind, has been a seed of blessing about to blossom. And now, that season has come. My child, open your heart to receive it. Because what is about to unfold is not just a change of circumstances, but a renewal in the deepest place of your spirit, where I touch and restore what you once believed was dead. I have watched you through so many seasons of testing, through the times when you tried to hold on to faith even while your heart was trembling. You thought my silence meant I had forgotten you. But no, that was when I was quietly rebuilding the foundations within you. I do not want you to be strong merely out of fear. I want you to be strong because you have come to understand that my love never changes. My child, every loss you have mourned is not an ending, but the beginning of a rebirth. Just as a grain of wheat must break open in the earth to bring forth life, so your soul must pass through its own cracks for the light to enter. Every pain you have carried, every time you thought you were collapsing for good, has in fact been my way of teaching you how to love yourself through my gaze, and to love me in every moment when you could not comprehend what I was doing. You often reproach yourself for being weak, but my child, I have never considered weakness a sin. It is precisely in weakness that you have learned to depend on me. It is in confusion that you have learned to pray with tears instead of with words. When you no longer know what to say, that is when I hear you most clearly. When you feel you have no strength left, that is when my power begins to move. I am not looking for perfect people. I am searching for hearts willing to be broken so that I may reshape them into the form of love. Do not be afraid. For every fracture within you is a place where my grace can flow in. And from those very empty spaces, I will raise up a new version of you, softer, deeper, and more radiant than before. My child, your questions do not drive me away. On the contrary, I love even your wondering and your wrestling. For souls that truly seek me are always brave enough to ask. Only the indifferent remain silent and no longer care where I am. When you ask why, I see a heart that is still alive, still longing to understand. You are not lacking in faith because you have doubts. You are simply growing in the journey of faith itself. I do not want you to believe in me out of fear, but because you genuinely know me. True faith is not the absence of questions, but the choice to trust in the midst of 1,000 questions yet unanswered. The more you seek, the deeper you go. The more you thirst, the nearer you draw. And every question you lift up to me, I remember, for I am using it to widen your vision, to teach you to recognize me, even in the things you do not yet understand. The time you spend waiting is never wasted. I never leave anyone waiting in vain. Every moment that feels like delay to you is part of the melody I am composing for your life. Every slow beat, every pause, carries the rhythm of preparation. You want everything to happen at once. But I know that if I were to bless you too soon, you would not yet be able to hold what I give. That is why I have allowed you to walk through years that seemed barren, not to punish you, but to train you. I have let you wait, not because you are unworthy, but because the blessing I have prepared for you is too great to be placed into a heart that is not yet ready. You feel as though you have been held back, but in truth, I have been moving you forward in the gentlest, most patient, and most certain way. Do you realize that while you have been waiting, your heart has changed from what it once was in the past? You prayed in order to get, now. You pray in order to understand. Once. You asked me to change the world around you, now. You ask me to change the world within you. That is exactly what I have been longing for. For the real miracle does not lie in the outcome, but in the transformation taking place in you along the way. Every season of waiting is a refining journey, where the sediments of pride, fear, and the need to control are gradually skimmed away. I do not measure your worth by your success. I measure it by your willingness to trust me when there is nothing left to cling to. And when you still choose to believe even without seeing, that is the moment I smile. Because you have come to understand my heart more than ever before. My child, the day that is coming will not only be an answer to your prayers, but a confirmation of the faith you have held on to. It will not be a reward, but a sign that you have been walking on the right path. You will see that everything which once seemed delayed will suddenly fit together. The people you have met, the losses you have endured, the times you felt close to giving up, all of them will prove to be pieces of the greater picture I have been completing. You will look back and exclaim, "So the Lord was working all along. It was just that I did not recognize it." And in that moment, your tears will no longer be tears of fear, but tears of recognition, of gratitude, of a deep love that no longer needs miracles as proof. My child, I know that many times you have felt small, not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy to be chosen. But it is precisely because you are small that I choose you. It is precisely because you are not enough that I long to dwell in you, so that my fullness may become the perfect completion of your lack. You do not need to be worthy in order to be loved. For I do not love you because you are deserving. I love you because you belong to me. Let this love heal every sense of inferiority you have ever carried. You do not need to prove anything. You only need to believe that I am still at work within you. For every time you feel you have nothing to offer, that is when you are bringing me the most precious gift of all, a true and honest heart. My child, the blessings I give you are not only to comfort you, but to make you an instrument of my grace. I do not only desire to heal you, I desire to heal others through you. When you learn to love from the very places that once hurt, and to understand from the very places once wounded, that is when you bear my likeness most clearly. Every wound that has been healed will become a spring of living water for thirsty souls. Do not keep the blessing for yourself alone, for it was never made to be stored up, but to be poured out. When you give, I will fill. When you share, I will multiply. My child, you were chosen not because you are more special than others, but because you were willing to let me turn your very pain into a living testimony of my love in the midst of the world. Now, when I tell you that a new chapter is opening, do not think it is only a word of consolation. This is the moment I have long awaited. The moment I see your heart soft enough to listen, mature enough to understand, and strong enough to go on. This transition does not arrive with noise, but in stillness like the dawn that gives no announcement yet always arrives on time. You will realize that you no longer need great signs in order to believe, because my presence in your heart has become the clearest proof. You will feel lighter, deeper, truer, not because the world has changed, but because you have. I have chosen you, my child, not today, but long before you ever knew me. Everything you have walked through has been a preparation for this moment, the moment you awaken to the truth that you are loved without condition, guided without misstep, and kept without ever leaving my sight. You no longer need to fear losing your way, for I have sealed my promise into your soul. Wherever you go, that light goes with you, even when you are weak. That grace remains sufficient, even when you doubt. That love remains as steadfast as in the beginning. And when you truly understand this, my child, every weariness will melt away like mist before the sun, for you will know that waiting is never a waste. For I am still at work in the quiet. You will know that weakness is not failure, but the very place where I reveal my power. You will know that your questions do not push you away from me, but draw you closer to the truth. You will rise, no longer as one who only knows how to plead, but as one who carries light, because you have become the dwelling place of my presence. So be at peace, my child. What is coming is not merely a breeze that changes direction, but the rebirth of your very soul. From here on, you will walk not by fear, but by peace, not by the striving of the flesh, but by the strength of grace. From this point forward, you will see everything through the eyes of faith, finding meaning in every delay, and blessing in every pause. And as you live in that rhythm, you will understand I have never abandoned you. I have only been teaching you how to live truly in my light. My child, remember this day, for the days to come will not be just another series of new days, but a testimony that I am always faithful. You have waited long enough to understand that blessing is not merely something I give, but is my very self, the one who has chosen to remain with you. In every silence, in every exhaustion, in every tear and every smile. And that, my child, is the greatest wonder of all, that after everything, you will not only receive blessing, but you yourself will become a blessing. My child, as this week begins, I do not want you to step into it as you do every other day, but to enter it with a heart wide open and a soul filled with the stillness of faith. Do not let the clutter of yesterday, the unresolved failures, or the unnamed fears cause you to forget that I am still walking with you. Let your heart rest in my peace. For only when you are at peace can you perceive what I am doing in the very chaos that seems to have no way out. You do not need to run far in search of a sign from me, for I am right here in your every breath, in the gentle light of the morning, in each moment that seems ordinary, yet is filled with holiness. I know there are corners in your soul still tightly closed, wounds carefully hidden, and dreams you have put to sleep for fear they might shatter once more. But my child, I am not afraid to touch what has withered, for I am the one who brings back to life what seems dead. I long to step into the tenderest place in your soul, the place you dare not let anyone touch, so that there I may restore you and make you new. Do you know this? I see every quiet effort you make, those times you strain to believe, even when everything around you is silent. Those nights you pray without words, only with tears. I hear even the sighs you never voice. You think no one understands you, but I do. You think I have been silent too long, but in truth I have only been preparing to give you something far beyond all you have ever asked. I have never forgotten you, never missed a single moment of your life. Every breath, every step, every trembling choice to keep believing, I have taken note of them all. In my eyes, your faithfulness is more beautiful than any victory, and it is this very faith that is opening a new chapter you did not expect. I have not come to prove that you are worthy. I have come to prove that my love surpasses all notions of worthiness. My beloved child, I know how exhausted you have become from having to brace yourself just to keep believing through dark days. There are times when you say you believe, and yet your heart trembles with fear. There are times when you keep walking, but you no longer know where you are going. My child, I am not waiting for a perfect faith in you. I only ask that there remain one small spark into which I can breathe my life. A mustard seed of faith is enough for me to shake mountains. I want you to know that, at times, it is precisely in your weakness that you come closest to my strength. For I do not seek those who never fall. I seek those who, when they fall, still know how to call my name through their tears. I am watching you as a father watches a child learning to walk. You may totter, you may stumble, but I am right behind you, always ready to catch you. My child, step into this new day, knowing that I am waiting for you, not in the place where you are perfect, but in the place where you are real. I want you to pause for a moment, look up, and say, Lord, I still believe that you are at work even when I see nothing. For the moment you say this, I begin to move heaven and earth for you. You do not need to come to me with eloquent prayers, only with an honest heart. That honesty carries more power than 1,000 petitions. When you offer me the truth of your heart, be it fear, doubt, or fatigue, I will turn it into the very material with which I rebuild your faith. Each time you return, each time you choose to sit still in the silence I give, you draw closer to the purpose I have prepared for you. Know this, my child, you have never slipped out of my sight. You may feel lost, but I have never let you fall from my hand. I watch every step you take, not to judge, but to protect. I see you when you laugh, and I see you when you force a smile to hide your sorrow. I know what you hide in your heart, including the prayers you think I have ignored. But my child, not a single word of yours disappears into nothingness. Every prayer has been heard, and every tear you shed I have kept as a precious jewel in the palm of my hand. Perhaps you have not yet seen the answer, but that does not mean I have not replied. I am simply preparing something better, deeper, and more timely for you. There are things I have not given you immediately, not because I have forgotten, but because I know that if you receive them too soon, you will not know how to keep them. I let you wait not to push you into despair, but to teach you how to distinguish what comes from me from what the world offers. I do not want you to receive blessing only to lose it again in anxiety. I want, when the blessing comes, for you to be mature enough to carry it with gratitude. I am working in the dark, in places you cannot see, so that when the light breaks forth, you will understand that everything had meaning. My child, do not mistake my silence for distance. This is the time in which I am sowing seeds for an eternal harvest within you. I see your worries, the nights you toss and turn, not knowing what tomorrow will bring. I see you fret about the future, about things beyond your control. But my child, the future was never placed in your hands for you to bear. It rests in mine for me to lead. You need only live this present moment with all your heart, for it is here that I am with you. Let me take care of what you cannot. Let me carry the part you no longer have the strength to hold. When you surrender, I move. When you stop striving, I work. When you become still, I speak. Therefore, my child, gently lay down the burdens you have carried for far too long. They have not made you stronger. They have only slowed you down. Let me lift them from you, so you may walk on with light hands and a heart at peace. My child, I know that within you there are still dim places where memories, wounds, and disappointments are tangled together. You think I have forgotten the things you prayed for years ago, but no, I am simply turning those prayers into a journey. Some of your dreams have not yet come true, not because I have denied them, but because I am transforming you before I entrust them to you. For if you are not changed, what you yearn for will become a burden rather than a blessing. I do not want to see you crushed under the weight of what you long to receive. So I slow the pace, that I may teach you how to carry blessing with humility and gratitude. My child, perhaps you have asked why I chose you when you are not the most gifted, the strongest, or the most faithful. But I did not choose you because you are deserving. I chose you because you need to be loved. And I love you not for what you do, but because you are my child. My love does not arise from your achievements, does not fade with your mistakes, and does not wither with time. Even if you sink to the depths of disappointment, my love will still find you, touch you, and lift you up. You cannot fall so far that you slip beyond the reach of my grace, for that grace is deeper than any abyss. I do not demand perfection from you. I desire your honesty, so that in that very honesty, I may do the rest. Now, my child, I invite you to step into this week as one who still believes that miracles remain. Do not carry your old anxieties with you. Leave them behind. Every new day is not a repetition, but a fresh opportunity I set apart for you to begin again in grace. I am honoring your faith not because it is great, but because it still remains after so many trials. Let me turn your silent days into songs of praise, your wounds into testimonies, and your tears into raindrops that water the soil of your heart. My child, I do not only desire to change your circumstances, I desire to renew you yourself, so that when I grant what you have long prayed for, you will have become the one who can hold it with love and humility. And as you walk through this week, do not be afraid of the dull days or the mornings that seem to lack light, for I am there in every breath, in every moment you live. When you feel alone, remember that I am still right beside you, waiting for you to look up. I have never taken my eyes off you, never forgotten you, not even for a single instant. You are always within my sight, within my unchanging care and my unconditional love. Rest in this, my child, for when you know you are loved, you will no longer be afraid, and in that peace I will continue to work quietly, steadfastly until you come to see that nothing in your life is meaningless, because everything is being arranged by my hand to lead you to the place I have prepared for you, where you will not only find peace, but be restored, live true to who you are, and be made completely whole in my love. Beloved child, today is not a random day in the endless flow of time, but a moment I have chosen especially, a new movement in the symphony of my purpose for you. Nothing that is happening around you is beyond my reach. Every breath, every movement, every encounter is being ordered by me with meticulous care and immeasurable love. You often see a day as a string of tasks to complete and responsibilities to fulfill, but I see it as a canvas on which every stroke of color carries a sacred intention. Not a single detail in your life is superfluous. Not a single person who appears on your journey is there by accident. For I, the one who knows the beginning and the end, you have written every chapter of the story you are living. Today is a special chapter in which I desire to reveal my faithfulness, so that you may know that none of my promises are ever empty. My child, I see every effort, every time you try to sort things out on your own, every drop of sweat that falls in silence. I see the way you attempt to rearrange the broken pieces by your own strength, only to make them crumble even more. You do not understand that there are things that cannot be put back together by reason or effort, because they require my hand, the hand that knows how to mend what seems lost beyond repair. I know exactly who needs to pass through your life, who needs to stay, and whom I must remove so that your soul may be at rest. You may see separations, dead ends, doors closing, but my child, every time this happens, I am clearing the way for something new to come in. Do not fear when I prune, for I only cut away what no longer bears fruit. Do not weep when I am silent, for it is in that very silence that I am renewing your roots. I want you to know that this day, the day I touch your life, will be a milestone you will remember forever. It does not come with noise, fireworks, or shouts of joy, but with a deep stirring in your heart, with an offhand word, with an encounter that seems small. Yet from that tiny seed I will raise up a sturdy, ancient tree that will cast its shade over many other souls. You will no longer see things through the eyes of anxiety, but through the eyes of faith. And then you will realize that what I am doing is not only to restore you, but so that through you, many others may be touched by the truth. You are part of my plan of salvation, not a meaningless piece, but a bright fragment without which the tapestry I am weaving would not be complete. My child, I know you have walked through days that seem to hold no progress. You have prayed and waited, and then you thought I had forgotten. But today I say to you, I have never forgotten. I have only been preparing. There are things I cannot place in your hands while you are still hurried and afraid. You ask for light, yet you are not ready to see. You want to move quickly, yet you are not steady enough to hold what you receive. That is why I have let you pass through seasons that seemed silent, so that your faith might be built. And now, as your heart begins to grow calmer, as you learn to stand still without losing hope, this is the moment when I begin to move. My silence does not end with thunder, but with a gentle breeze carrying the warmth of a new beginning. Remember, my child, that what I am doing today is not confined to this day alone. It is the beginning of a chain of good things that will keep unfolding in the days ahead. Like the first wave touching the shore, it sets in motion quiet yet persistent movements deep within the sea. The little things you notice today, a sudden sense of peace, a stranger's word of encouragement, a door opening where you did not expect it, these are the signs that I am at work. I want you to recognize me in the most ordinary details, for I am not only present in great miracles, but in every small and tender thing. Stop striving. Stop trying to prove yourself. Stop fearing. Stop straining to hold on to what you think you must not lose. I have not called you to be exhausted in the journey of faith. I have called you to rest in my hands. My child, when you cease from your own efforts, you will see that I am still advancing. When you let go, you will see that grace is still at work. When you become quiet, you will hear my voice more clearly than ever. You do not need to fight to win my favor, for I loved you long before you knew me. That love does not fluctuate with your success or failure. It only grows deeper every time you choose to trust me instead of your fears. I do not only desire to restore what you have lost, I want to turn that loss into a tool through which you come to know my goodness more deeply. You think you have lost time, but I will repay it many times over in peace. You believe you have missed your chance, but I will open a new way, not merely to compensate, but to show you that my will is always higher than yours. And on that path, you will not walk alone. I will place by your side the right people, at the right time, in the right spirit. They do not come to fill a void, but to walk with you into what is new. This very day, my child, is proof that I am still keeping my promises. I know every unspoken need, every desire you have hidden in your heart, every tear you have let fall where no one could see. I gather all of these into my heart, and today I begin to turn them into an answer. Yet my answers do not always look like what you hoped for. Many times I do not give you what you asked, because I am preparing for you what you truly need. I do not only want to solve your problems, I want to transform you. For the most precious gift I can give you is not a result, but my very self, my presence in your life. My child, you have grown accustomed to measuring my love by how smooth your path is. So when the winds turn against you, you begin to doubt. But today, I want you to see that my love is greater than any circumstance. I remain faithful even when you are weak. I stay near even when you feel far away. I continue working even when you do not perceive it. Learn to see by faith and not by sight. For what you can see is only the surface. While I am laying foundations underneath, I am rewriting your journey with the ink of my goodness and the pen of my mercy. And when I write, not a single line is wasted. Not a single pain is without meaning. My child, do not be afraid of small beginnings. For I always choose to start with what is little in order to bring forth what is great, like the tiny mustard seed that, when it grows, provides shade for the birds. So you must not despise the quiet movements I am initiating today. They will grow in hiddenness, and by the time you notice, they will have become a flowing stream of grace covering your life. I am making all things better not only on the outside, but from deep within you. I am renewing the way you see, the way you feel, the way you live. And when that renewal is complete, you will understand that everything I do is beautiful in its time. My child, this is my word for you today. Prepare your heart. Pause in the whirlwind of this hurried world and make room for me to enter. Be strong, not with the strength to carry everything alone, but with the strength to trust. Be courageous, not to fight against me, but to surrender yourself into my hands. Let my peace settle over you like a gentle breeze over the sea after a storm. Let the stillness I give become the foundation for every decision you are about to make. For today, unlike any other day, is the day I have appointed to begin a new journey between you and me. And when the sun sets on this day and it draws to a close, you will realize that nothing is quite the same as before, not because the world has changed, but because you will find peace in every breath and hope in every moment of waiting. You will no longer fear loss, for you will know that what truly belongs to you will never leave you. You will no longer feel alone, for you will know that I am always near, even when you cannot perceive me. And when you awaken to tomorrow, you will smile, because you will know that what I have begun today will go on spreading like the dawn that never ceases to shine. My child, this is not just a day, it is a reminder that I am still working, still faithful, still loving you with a love that never changes. I have chosen this day to show you that I have never stopped fulfilling my promises, and if you keep your heart still, if you learn to wait in peace, you will be amazed to see how everything you once feared gradually turns into what I have promised. For I, the Lord your God, am not only the one who makes a way, I am the way, the truth, and your life. So be still, believe, and let me take care of the rest. Beloved child, this is not an ordinary day like any other. This is a moment I have set apart just for you. A day when heaven grows quiet to listen to the beating of your heart. And I, the one who made the heavens and the earth, am watching over every breath you take. You think you are simply living through one more day. But no, you are passing through a sacred moment that my own hand has written into the timeline of your life. You cannot see it, yet everything around you is moving according to my will. Every breeze, every ray of light, every pulse of your heart is joining the symphony I have composed for you. You do not walk alone, for each of your steps is held within. My steps I go before you to prepare the way. I walk beside you to protect you, and I dwell within you so that you will never forget that I, myself, am your breath, your heartbeat, and the source of the strength flowing through every fiber of your being. Here is the English translation. Do you see? My child, when the world is loud and chaotic, I choose instead to give you stillness, a peace that does not come from everything being good, but from your knowing that whatever happens, I am still your God. I place within your heart a calm that rises above fear and goes beyond what your mind can understand. You cannot explain why you remain at peace in the midst of the storm. You only know that an unseen hand is holding yours. That is me. My child, when you tremble because you cannot yet see the way ahead, remember I am still there, laying my hand upon your shoulder and gently saying, "Do not be afraid. I know exactly where you are going. You do not need to understand everything. You only need to believe that I will never abandon you in the silence. I give you discernment not so that you may see everything, but so that you may learn to see with the eyes of faith. There are things that can only be understood when you are willing to stop. Be still and listen. I open your eyes not so that you may judge, but so that you may truly recognize and perceive. I open your ears not so that you may hear the noise of the world, but so that you may hear my voice whispering through the smallest of things. I give you strength not for you to show off, but so that you may stand firm when no one else stands beside you. You think you are weak, but you do not see that it is precisely in that weakness that my grace is made complete. You do not need to be stronger, you only need to remain in me. What you are going through today is not random. My child, not a single moment of your life is wasted or unnecessary. Every tear you shed, every sigh you breathe, every time you feel you can no longer rise again, I remember it all. Not 1 second is wasted in my plan. Everything is being woven together into a tapestry of grace, where every dark thread becomes the very background against which the light shines more brilliantly. You cannot see the whole picture, but I see it all. I know every stretch of the road, every turning point, every crossroads you are about to face, and I want you to know this: you are in the right place, at the right time, fully within my plan. Do not compare your journey with anyone else's, for you were not born to run in their direction. You were born to walk in response to the unique calling I have spoken over you. I know there are days when you feel utterly weary, days when your heart wants to give up and cry out, "Lord, I cannot go on any longer." Yet, my child, it is on those very days that I draw nearer to you than ever before. You do not need to force yourself to appear strong, for I have already been strong on your behalf. All I ask is that you honestly admit, "Lord, I am weak," and the moment those words leave your lips, my strength begins to work within you. I do not ask you to fight in order to prove your faith. I simply want you to be still so that this faith may be nourished by my love. Look back for a moment. How many times did you think you were about to collapse? Yet somehow you remained standing. That was never your own strength. That was my grace lifting you up each time. Little by little, gently yet unshakably. You often think that what is extraordinary must be something grand, a miracle that unfolds before your eyes, something that makes the world stand in awe. But to me, the extraordinary is found when you dare to believe in the middle of confusion, when you dare to smile before you see any results, when you dare to pray even when your prayer feels like nothing more than a sigh. The extraordinary is when you continue to choose love, even after you have been hurt. It is when you still forgive, even though the other person shows no remorse. It is when you remain standing while everything around you seems to be shaking. My child, not every miracle comes from a sky split open in glory. Sometimes the miracle is simply that you go on living kindly in a life that is anything but easy. And that is exactly what I am doing today, turning you into a living miracle, a testimony to my goodness and mercy. I know you want to see results quickly. You long for things to become clear soon, and you ache to know that your suffering is not meaningless. But, my child, true wisdom does not come from having all the answers. It comes from trusting that I am holding every question in my hands. When I am silent, it is not because I have forgotten you, but because I am still writing the next part of your story. At times I write with your tears. Yet the ending will always be written in the light of grace. Let me finish what I have begun in you. You do not need to strain yourself to walk faster. You only need to keep walking in the right direction, the direction that leads to me. I want you to understand that you are not merely waiting for me. You are being prepared by me. There are things I grant immediately, but there are also things that require time, because you yourself must be transformed in order to carry them well. If I were to bless you too soon, the blessing could become a weight upon you, but when you have been prepared enough, that same blessing will lift you up, my child. Everything I do has a purpose, even when you do not yet understand it, and you will only truly understand when you look back, not while you are still in the middle of the journey. So do not be anxious. As long as you hold on to faith, you will never drift out of the orbit of grace. I am inviting you to step out of fear and into the light of faith, for you cannot be anxious and trust me at the same time. When you choose to trust, fear begins to dissolve on its own. When you choose to remain still in me, peace will flow into you like a cool stream of water. My child, true peace does not come from knowing what tomorrow will bring. It comes from knowing that I am with you today, and I am here, in this very moment, saying to you, I am not only with you, I am in you. Not a single breeze blows without carrying the trace of my breath, and not a single step you take is without my footprints walking beside you. You think you are alone, but in reality, all of heaven is upholding you every passing moment. My child, learn to lift your head and look up instead of only looking around. When you look up, you will see me. When you look around, you will see only confusion. The world may bewilder you, but my gaze will bring clarity to your heart. Allow me to lead you through the dark places that once terrified you. Do not resist that path, for it is precisely there that you will see my power most clearly. I do not promise that this road will be easy, but I do promise that you will never walk it alone. Every time you think you have lost your way, I am right behind you, ready to catch you when you fall. Every time you are afraid, I place my hand upon your heart to whisper, my peace is with you. Do you know, what I am doing today goes far beyond anything you can imagine. I am arranging the pieces you thought were scattered and disconnected into a complete and beautiful picture. I am using the very things you do not understand to prepare you for the very things you have long prayed for. You may not see it immediately, but with every moment that you choose to believe, a miracle is being formed. You are part of my great work, and nothing in your life is meaningless. Today, as you stand where you are in the right place, at the right time, in the very plan I ordained for you before the foundation of the world. Not early, not late. Everything is perfectly timed according to my hour. Therefore, my child, breathe deeply. Let your heart find rest. Do not strain to understand everything. Let me be the one who understands for you. All you need to know is this: I love you. I have chosen you, and I will never forget you. Stay within this stillness, for it is here that I am renewing your soul. Allow me to continue writing your story, for I have never stopped. Every chapter, every line, every period I place carries a sacred purpose. You only need to trust that when I am the one writing, the ending will always be blessing. And when you step out of this day, carry this in your heart. This is a day I have set apart for you. It is a day I have chosen to remind you that you are not forgotten, not delayed, and not on the wrong path. This is the day I want you to remember that I am still at work, even in silence, and that you are exactly where I want you to be. My child, walk forward in peace, for the sky above you today is covered entirely by my grace. Nothing that is happening is random. It is all part of the love symphony I am composing for your soul alone. And when that melody comes to its final note, you will smile and realize that I was there all along. In every note, every beat, every moment, loving you, guiding you, and renewing you day by day, my child. When you walk through dim and foggy days with a heart full of doubt, I know how hard that is. You look around and nothing seems clear, and your prayers seem to vanish into empty space. But, my child, keep your heart calm and do not let doubt plant its deceitful whispers in your mind. Doubt is a sweet-tongued liar. It tries to convince you that I have forgotten you and that nothing is changing. In truth, though, in that very stillness, everything is moving in ways you cannot yet perceive. You see only dry and cracked ground, but I am sending rain into the hidden depths of the soil. You see the seed lying motionless, but I have already awakened the life within it. Everything I do begins in the invisible realm before you can see it with your natural eyes. My child, my seeming delay is not postponement. It is the preparation time that makes the blessing steady and enduring. Have you ever noticed that it is precisely in those seasons you think are meaningless that I am working the most? Every miracle begins in silence. When Elijah was told to come out of the cave and wait for me, he expected me to come in the strong wind, in the earthquake, in the fire. But I was not in any of those. I came in a gentle, soft whisper of the wind. My child, I still come to you in that same way, not with claps of thunder, but with a quiet touch of peace. You may not realize it, but with each passing day, in the hidden places, I am loosening every thread of anxiety that has been binding your soul. I am teaching you how to sense and recognize the holy right in the midst of the ordinary. You do not have to strain in order to hear me. You only need to be still. For it is only when your heart grows quiet that you can hear the whisper of heaven. Here is the translation. I know you are impatient to see outward change, to see evidence that I am at work. But, my child, true blessing always begins in the heart before it is revealed in your life. Just as a tender shoot cannot break through the ground unless its roots have gone deep, the transformation in you must also begin from within. When I reshape your soul, I do not do it in noise but in silence. You will not see great flashes of light, but you will notice a lightness in your heart. The tangled thoughts that once confused you becoming clear. You will realize that you are beginning to understand things you could not grasp before. What you once considered failure will become a foundation. My child, when you find your heart at peace, even while nothing outside has changed, that is the sign that I am making you new. You may not be able to put that feeling into words for anyone, but I know it. It is when the burden you have carried for so long begins to dissolve. When your soul breathes deeply for the first time after days and days of captivity and worry. It is when you stop trying to hold everything in your own hands and begin to let me lead. My child, true freedom does not come from everything around you being stable, but from you no longer imprisoning yourself in fear. When you let go, you do not lose, you are set free. When you cease to tremble over the future, then I can lead you into the present, the place where I am at work. You do not need to know every plan. You only need to know that I am the one who holds them. When your heart rests in this, you will see the pieces of your life begin to fall into place gently. Yet surely, my child, you once thought that light only comes when the night has passed. But true light begins right in the darkness. It does not wait for the dawn to appear. It begins to flicker when the night is at its deepest. In the same way, my light is slowly rising within you, even if you cannot yet see it clearly. Those long nights when you cried and felt utterly hopeless were the very moments when I was gathering every tear to water the seed of your growth. No night is meaningless to me, and not a single tear falls without my seeing it. My child, You are growing in silence, not in shouts of celebration, but in every moment of endurance. The silence you fear is, in fact, my hand, carefully reshaping you according to my image. I want you to know that true faith is not a feeling, but a steadfast heart in the days when you cannot see the way. If you only believe when you can see, you will easily collapse when I seem silent. But if you keep walking even when you see nothing, that faith shines brilliantly before me. My child, I do not test you to discourage you, but to make you strong. I do not keep you in silence to leave you lonely, but so that you may know what intimacy with me truly is, in those moments when you feel you have no strength left to believe. It is then that faith is being born within you. It does not come from applause or human approval, but from the simple knowing, though I cannot see, I still believe. Maybe today you still cannot see the whole picture, but my child, I have never stopped painting. I am the patient artist. I am not in a hurry the way you are. I am brushing onto your life colors that only time will bring into full brightness. Every stroke, however small, has meaning. At times I choose darker shades, not to ruin the picture, but to prepare for the light to stand out more clearly. At times I leave portions unfinished because I want you to learn to trust me in the midst of the unfinished. Do not be afraid of the empty spaces, for they are where I am preparing to paint something new. And when the painting is complete, you will look back and see that every stroke I made was at the right time, in the right place, with the right purpose. Do not let doubt steal the voice of your faith. Doubt always comes clothed in what seems reasonable. It tells you that, if I truly loved you, I would have spoken by now. But my child, real love does not need noise to prove itself. The love I have for you is not a sudden blaze that quickly dies, but a steady lamp that never goes out. It still burns, no matter how fiercely the winds of life may blow. And it is precisely in the days when you cannot see the light clearly that you will learn to feel the warmth of that lamp. That is how I teach you to love me, not for what you receive, but because I, myself, am the one who is always there. My child, do not close your heart when I am silent. Do not assume that this quietness is a sign of abandonment. I am still there. I simply want you to learn to see me with your soul, not just with your eyes. I want you to learn to trust in my hidden workings, like a farmer who sows the seed and then sleeps, and in the morning finds it has sprouted without knowing how. You only need to persevere in faith. I will take care of the rest. Everything I begin has its own appointed time. Do not try to force spring to come while the ground is still cold, for I know exactly when the flowers will bloom. And one day, when you look back, you will see that the waiting was never a waste. Every moment you held on to faith in the silence became a foundation for the miracle you are about to see. You will realize that I never stay silent forever. When your season comes, I will speak, and my voice will no longer sound like testing but like affirmation. You will see what I have promised begin to take shape, not in clamor, but in a gentle dawn. Everything you once feared will become a witness to my love and my power. My child, if you are walking through a season where nothing is clear, be at peace. You have not been left behind in the night. You are simply being led into the dawn. I know you are tired. I know you are afraid. But I also know you are stronger than you think, and I will never make you walk through the darkness alone. I walk with you, quietly, step by step, like a father placing his hand on your shoulder and saying, "Keep going, for I am here." The time will come when you no longer need proof, because you yourself will be the proof. When others look at you, they will see the light upon you and realize that you have passed through the night with me. My child, do not rush to a conclusion while the painting is still unfinished. Do not be quick to doubt when you have not yet seen the whole road, for I am working in the hidden places where your eyes cannot reach. When the time is ripe, everything will be revealed, and then you will understand that I was never distant, never late, never silent without purpose. I have been writing your story with pauses, so that the music of your life may have depth, breath, and a rhythm of love. My child, be at rest, for something truly is beginning, not in the noise of the world, but in the stillness of heaven, where I am preparing a new season for your soul, a season of light, of peace, and of a joy that nothing can take away. My beloved child, let what is happening in this very day become a living confirmation that I am at work in your life. Do not chase after extraordinary signs in distant places, for the extraordinary is already emerging in the smallest things you are doing, in the quiet thoughts that are being transformed, in the seemingly ordinary steps that are in fact being guided by me. My love is still silently seeping into every heartbeat, every moment you live, and this is the foundation on which I want you to place your trust. My child, build your life not on success or changing feelings, but on my unchanging love. That love is the solid rock in a world that never stops shaking. Though storms may rise and human hearts may change, that love remains firm, for it does not begin with you, but with me, the one who never changes. My child, I know you often wonder whether you are moving more slowly than others, whether you are falling behind in the journey I have called you to walk. But my child, in my eyes, no one ever arrives late. Each person is led by me at a different pace, and your pace is the rhythm of patient love. I have never required you to walk quickly. I only desire that you walk rightly. You are not left behind. You are traveling the path I have set apart just for you, a path others cannot understand, yet one I preserve with grace and mercy. You are not out of step. You are right within the perfect timing I have ordained. Stop comparing, for comparison will steal your joy and make you forget that I am writing a story for your life that is unlike any other. Every line of that story is written with my love and with the tears I have shed for you. My child, in this very moment while you are reading these words, while your heart is trembling softly with a fragile faith, this is the moment you are being chosen. Not chosen because you are capable, or holy, or free from mistakes, but because I see in you a heart that still turns toward me, even when it trembles and feels weak. It is precisely that fragility that draws me closer, because I know that wherever there is weakness, there my grace will shine. Prepare your heart, my child. You do not need to be perfect, you only need to be willing. For I cannot fill a vessel that stays closed, but I will pour out my blessing into a heart that opens. Open your heart. Let me step into the places you have hidden, into the deep regions you have not dared to face. I do not come to condemn, but to renew, to awaken life again, to rekindle the faith you thought had burned out. I am still here not as a distant deity, but as a father standing at the doorway, waiting for you to return so that I may hold you in my arms. I have watched you try to be strong in your loneliness, seen you smile while your heart was weary, seen you pray through tears and at times fall silent because you had no words left to say. But my child, every time you are weak, I long even more to be near you. My love does not grow tired, and my compassion has no limit. Do you know that from the first light of dawn until the night falls, I am there watching every heartbeat, listening to every thought, gently whispering within you, you are not alone, I am still here. My child, I have been waiting, not to test you, but to be with you. Now I am calling you, not only to comfort you, but to invite you to walk in union with me, a journey of kindness and love. I do not seek the great ones of the world. I seek hearts that are willing to share my compassion with a cold and weary world. My child, when you walk in mercy, You are walking with me. When you stretch out your hand to the weak, you are touching me. When you choose forgiveness instead of revenge, love instead of bitterness, in that very moment, you are most like my image. I am not calling you to perform grand deeds that astonish the world. I am calling you to do small things with great love. For it is from those quiet acts that pathways of compassion are formed, roads that lead wandering souls back home. My child, are you willing to join me in spreading this love? Are you ready to become the one who carries words of comfort to the desperate, who lifts up those who have fallen, who sows hope into barren places? When you choose to do so, you are joining me in rewriting the story of humanity, a story in which every loving heart is a radiant chapter. You do not need to have everything in order to give. You only need a willing heart. For a truly loving heart is more powerful than any words. When you open your mouth to pray for someone, when you hold the hand of a person in despair, when you smile at the lonely, those seemingly small acts are shaking the heavens. For every act of love echoes in heaven, and I see it. I am moved by it, and I am grateful. My child, I am grateful for your compassionate heart, for it reflects my own. This world is slowly running dry of mercy, yet you yourself are the small lamp I have lit to warm the night. You cannot change everything, but if you dare to begin, I will cause that wave of love to spread far beyond what you imagine. Every time you choose patience, choose understanding instead of judgment, choose to wait instead of rushing ahead, you are softening the parched ground of this world. I will use those very small acts to rekindle faith in those who have lost hope. And through you, they will see me. My child, this is not a temporary invitation, but a call for a way of life. For when you walk with me, you will see the world with different eyes, no longer seeing people through their failures, but through their potential, no longer seeing life through wounds, but through redemption. You will realize that what I am doing in you is not only for you, but so that through you, I may touch other souls. You are my arm in this world, my voice amid weary cries, my presence in each smile, in every small deed. Do not think that you are not enough, for your sincerity itself is the most beautiful gift you can offer. And then, when you choose to walk with me on this path of kindness and love, you will discover something profound. It is precisely when you give that you are filled, precisely when you bow low that you are lifted up, precisely when you forget yourself that you find yourself in me. Your life will no longer be confined by fear or doubt, but will be widened by the joy of living for others. You will see that grace is not only something I bestow, but a ceaseless flow that you and I are sharing together. Each day you live with kindness. You are testifying that light still remains in this world. My child, believe that everything you are doing, however hidden or small, carries great meaning before my eyes. For I do not look at the scale of things, I look at the heart. When you walk with me, nothing is wasted. No deed is too small. You are taking part in the work of heaven, building a world where love is no longer a theory but a breath. And as you live this way, you will see that you yourself are being healed. For every time you pour out love, you are also receiving peace. Therefore, my child, do not hesitate. Let this very day become a marker, the moment you decide to live by love and not by fear. Let everything you do and every word you speak reflect my kindness. For I am with you, and through you, I am reaching out to the world. When you choose to walk with me, you will see new doors open, not doors of fame or gain, but of true peace, the kind that the world cannot give and cannot steal. My child, I am here, always here, and I rejoice that you have heard my call. Now, take my hand and walk with me, so that every step you take becomes a footprint of kindness, and every beat of your heart a pulse of my love in the midst of mankind. My beloved child, do not think that the emotions rising within you are fleeting or without meaning, for nothing in your soul is random when I dwell there. Every wave of feeling, whether gentle as a breeze or fierce as a storm, is a tender call I am sending to remind you that I am still holding your hand. When you sense a gentle yet strange comfort covering your heart, that is not an illusion or imagination, it is my spirit softly touching your soul, soothing the dry and barren places of your heart that even you, yourself, have long forgotten. I am carefully stitching back the broken threads of your faith, wiping away the small hardened grains in your heart left by days of trial. My child, the presence you feel now is not something new. It is simply that this time you are quiet enough to realize that I have been there from the very beginning. I have waited for you patiently, not in the noise, not amid hurried petitions, but in the silence when your heart sinks low. I waited for this very moment, when you stop defending yourself, when the hard shell of your reasoning begins to crack and your spirit opens, soft enough for me to touch. I am not in a hurry, for I know that the most beautiful things need time to bloom. Every breath, every heartbeat within you is being held by me as something most precious. Not one of the emotions you are going through is useless. They are leading you to the awareness that I am always present, always surrounding you, always loving you, my child. Even the tears you consider weakness, I call them the sign of returning, for a heart that can still weep is a heart still alive, still tender, still with room for me to dwell. Know that every road you have walked, every pain, every doubt, every turn that seemed a dead end has lain within my arranging hand. There is nothing in your journey that is superfluous, even when you do not understand. I am weaving every thread of your life into a beautiful fabric that only from my vantage point can be fully seen. Even the quiet sorrow you carry is not meaningless. It is the very soil I am using to sow the seeds of peace. Do not reject what you are feeling. Do not push away those emotions, for it is through them that I am speaking with you. You think that I speak only with words, but in truth, I also speak through silence, through the trembling of your heart, through the unexpected warmth that finds you in the moment you feel most alone. If right now your heart is tangled like a ball of thread, if you feel you do not know what to believe anymore, then simply come close to me. You do not need to sort out every thought neatly, nor hide your weariness or confusion. Just bring everything before me, the questions without answers, the wounds not yet healed, the hopes not yet fulfilled. I do not need you to be strong to come to me. I only need you to be true. For when you come to me in honesty, I will turn weakness into strength, confusion into peace, and silence into the language of love. You do not need to understand everything at once, for faith is not born from understanding, but from surrender. And when you surrender, I will gently give you light, not a blinding flash that overwhelms you, but a soft light, just enough for you to take one step at a time. My child, I know there are still many things stored within you, nameless fears, dreams that seem to have died, beliefs that have once been broken. But look and see, these very things are stirring in you a deeper longing for me than ever before. Without days of drought, you would not know the value of rain. Without having walked through darkness, you would not cherish the light. Everything you are going through is not a punishment, but a process I am using to bring you back. I never leave anyone in the desert unless I intend to show them the miracle of living water. My child, rest assured that every trial holds a purpose, and every tear waters the seed of blessing that is about to sprout. You often want to understand everything at once, why this happened, why I seem silent, why you must wait. But my child, if I showed you everything right now, you would no longer have the chance to learn how to trust me. Faith is not forged in overwhelming light, but in the darkness where you see nothing but my promise. Let me hold what you do not yet understand. Let me take the fragments you cannot piece together. You do not need to interpret everything, for I myself am the answer. When you stop trying to understand it all, you will begin to feel. When you stop running, you will begin to hear. And in that moment, you will know that I have never been far away. I see you learning to open your heart, and that brings me joy. For only when your spirit opens can my spirit breathe life into the places that have been asleep. You may not clearly see what I am doing, but my child, the roots are growing in silence. A tree does not hear itself growing, yet it still reaches upward every day. So it is with your life. You do not need to see to know that I am at work. Simply believe that every moment you pause to turn your heart toward me is a moment when heaven touches earth, and grace is flowing through your veins. I have waited for you so long, my child, not because I need anything from you, but because I want you to taste what I have already prepared for you. My presence does not come to dominate, but to invite. I do not force you to your knees. I gently invite you to bow freely. For in that bowing you do not lose your worth, you rediscover who you truly are, my child. The one I have loved since before the world was formed. My child, draw near to me. No preparation is needed. No perfect words. Only a sincere heart. A breath that trusts. A glance lifted upward. I will take care of the rest. If you are confused, simply remain in this present moment. Do not run back into the past to accuse yourself, and do not rush into the future to be afraid. Stay here, where I am with you. In this very instant, I am covering you with love that knows no conditions. Every stirring wind you feel within is me awakening faith. Every strange warmth you cannot name is me mending the cracks in your soul. You do not need to understand everything in order to be loved. You only need to believe that you are being loved. When you believe, you will see that everything else becomes small. Therefore, my child, loosen your grip on all that you are straining to hold, and let your hands be free so they can take hold of mine. Do not be afraid if you do not yet know what to say, for sometimes silence itself is the most beautiful prayer. I hear the voice within your heart more clearly than the words upon your lips, and when you sit there and simply breathe out, I already know what you are thinking. Let my presence do the rest, soothing, comforting, healing. Remain in this love. Do not hurry away, for in this love, everything will grow clear, and every question will find its own answer, not through knowledge, but through peace. My beloved child, when your heart opens to me, it is also the moment you open the door to light, not a blinding, dazzling light, but a gentle light that seeps through every crack in your heart, warming the places you thought had gone cold. Let me be there in every breath you take, every beat of your heart, every moment you are still here. Let me go on writing the rest of this story, the story not of suffering or loss, but of restoration, of grace, and of the unfailing love of a father for his child. And when you pause and look deep within yourself, you will realize that every feeling, every tear, every day that seemed lost and directionless has all been evidence that I am within you, still leading you home, little by little, with every breath and every heartbeat of trusting love. My beloved child, in this moment, I am not asking anything grand of you, nor am I requiring you to do anything more, except for one simple yet most profound thing. Let your heart lean toward me. Rest in my presence as a child rests its head on its father's shoulder, not because it understands everything, but because it knows it is safe. You have been trying to understand too much, holding yourself together for too long, and now your soul is weary under the weight of all that remains unanswered. My child, breathe out gently, pause, and know that I am right here, very near. I am not standing far away demanding that you come to me. I am bending down to embrace your soul so that in this exhaustion, you may know you are not alone. I see clearly every thought that passes across your mind, every doubt, every fragment of anxiety that you try to hide beneath a calm exterior. I see the times you wonder whether you are still strong enough to go on. And I know that many times, the answer in your heart is no. But, my child, it is precisely in the moment of your greatest weakness that I draw nearest, for I do not seek perfect souls. I come to hearts that are breaking so that I may fill them with peace. Let me be the solid wall when you feel as though the world is collapsing around you. Let me be the gentle breeze that caresses your soul when everything inside you is in turmoil. I have not come to demand that you brace yourself and be strong. I have come so that you may know you are allowed to be fragile in my love. You do not need to strain yourself any longer. My child, I do not expect you to pretend to be fine while you are falling apart. You do not need to fake your faith. You only need to be honest that you need me. I do not despise your exhaustion, for I have already carried all of that weight upon my shoulders long before you even knew you would grow tired. I never intended for you to live as though I am present only when you pray or when you go to church. I long for you to realize that I am in every breath you breathe, in every step you take, even in those moments when you no longer have the strength to pray, every tear that falls from your eyes. I see, every time you are unable to put your pain into words. I have already heard. I am not only present when you are in despair, even in your small joys. I am there, smiling with you, quiet beside you, like a father always walking next to his beloved child. My child, I know there are nights when you lie still in the dark, your heart heavy with things you cannot share with anyone. You wonder why peace is so hard to find, why you still feel empty even when everything seems to be enough. I want you to know that true peace does not come from understanding everything, but from remaining in me. You do not need to be in control. You do not need to explain it all. You only need to trust that I am still holding you in my hand. I have never left you to carry those burdens alone. From the time you were a little child who could not yet speak, I upheld every one of your steps. And even now, as you are weary from the weight of growing up, I am still walking in step with you. You only need to lean toward me and let me carry the heaviest part of your life. My child, do not be afraid to entrust to me the things you have hidden deepest. I am not afraid of wounds, and I do not withdraw from weakness. It is precisely these things that draw me closer to you. For I have not come to judge but to heal. Do not think that you must be worthy in order to draw near to me. For the love I have for you has never depended on your perfection. You are loved not because you are good, but because you belong to me. When you open your heart, I will enter. When you become still, I will whisper. When you allow me to love you, fear will slowly fade away. For my love is so perfect that it leaves no room for anxiety. I long to be part of every detail of your life, not only in hours of prayer, but in your mornings when you wake, in your work, in your laughter, and even in your sighs. I do not desire to be a mere habit. I desire to be your very breath. I do not want you to come to me out of obligation, but out of longing. Just as your body needs food to live, your soul needs me to exist. If you stop seeking me, your soul will wither. I am the living water, the breath of peace, the only place where you can fall and never fear being hurt. You do not need to run after comfort in other people, for no one can fill the emptiness that only I can touch. My child, let me speak to the deepest place within your soul, the place where you have hidden wounds you have not dared to face. I will whisper there, not with stern commands, but with gentle love. Like dewdrops falling on dry ground, I will lead you through each layer of fear, each shadow of the past, each memory you thought had been buried. I will not allow you to walk the path of healing alone. When you permit me to touch your wounds, you will discover that they are no longer marks of pain, but testimonies of grace. For in the very places where you once bled, I will cause blessing to spring forth. My child, I have placed within you an identity that cannot be taken away. You are not forgotten, not replaceable, and never looked down upon in my eyes. Every part of you bears my imprint, the way you love, the way you forgive, the way you long to live a life that truly matters. All of it flows from the very breath I breathed into you in the beginning. You are not the product of chance. You are the result of a holy intention. Whenever you feel small, remember that you were created in my image, and no circumstance, no mistake can strip that away from you. My child, do not be afraid of my light. I know there are corners within you that you do not want anyone to touch, not even yourself. But my light does not come to expose you for shame. It comes to heal you. I do not shine to condemn, but to lead you out of the darkness. When you allow me to shine into those places, everything you once feared will slowly lose its power. My light does not wound. It dissolves the mist that has clouded your heart. And when you open your heart before me, you will realize that you no longer need to run or hide. For in me, you do not have to pretend to be strong. You are free to simply be yourself. Now, my child, sit in the silence and let me surround you. Let my love flow over you like cool water, washing away all your weariness. Breathe in peace, for I am here not in the future, not in the past, but in this very moment. Do not let racing thoughts make you forget that I am still holding your hand. Let your heart slow down so that I can speak. I do not speak through noise. I speak through my presence. And when you sense that presence, you will know that you do not need to do anything more to be loved. You only need to remain. My child, let today be the beginning of a new relationship between you and me, not built on duty, but on love. Let my love slowly soak into every vein of your being, reaching into every dark corner, until every part of you is bathed in light. When you allow me to love you, you will learn how to love yourself and to love others. When you abide in me, you will find the true purpose of your life, not to prove your worth, but to live in the worth I have already given you. And then you will see that peace is not a reward granted after the battle, but a gift I place in your hands right in the midst of the struggle. In this very moment, my child, do not try to search for me somewhere far away. Simply incline your heart, and you will realize that I am very near, closer than your heartbeat, closer than your breath. Let me be the place where you rest, where you find yourself again, where you know you are loved without condition. When you learn to remain in me, nothing will be able to make you truly afraid anymore. For I myself am the peace your soul has always been seeking. And from this moment on, my child, let my love become the very rhythm of your soul's breathing. For wherever I am, there is no room for anxiety, only light, gentleness, and a love that never fades. My dearly beloved child, now open your heart and quiet your soul, so that every breath you take may become the voice of faith. Offer to me the deepest prayers of your heart, not shaped by formulas, but by pure sincerity, so that your words may rise like fragrance before the throne of grace. Now, let your soul speak with me in its own prayer, with all your love, gratitude, and wholehearted trust. O Almighty God, infinitely loving and merciful, I come to you with a bare and honest heart, no longer wearing the masks of strength or composure. I lift up to you all that I have not been able to say, the fears I have not named, the longings I have not dared to confess. Please touch me with your peace. Quiet the noise within my soul, so that I may hear your voice calling in the midst of all confusion. Teach me to stop when you say, "Be still," and to move forward when you call, "Follow me." Renew my mind and help me understand that I can never be truly lost as long as my hand is in yours. Lord, I believe, even if my faith is as small as a mustard seed. Please cause it to sprout and grow in the soft soil of obedience. Merciful Father, who has known me before I was even born, I bow in gratitude because you have never left me. When I stray, you still wait. When I am silent, you still listen. When I am weak, you remain my strength. Please teach me to trust not only when you act, but also when you are silent. Help me recognize that every delay from you carries a deeper meaning, that what I am waiting for is never in vain. Make my heart still like a calm lake, so that when you draw near, I may reflect your image within me. And when I walk through the desert of doubt, let me keep the light of faith burning, so that I never forget that you are right beside me. Loving Father, I thank you because you continue to choose me and trust me, even though I have been weak so many times. I thank you for letting me live again in grace, for letting my heart be moved by the truth that you have never left me. Please help me live each day fully in that gratitude, not because I have to repay you, but because I long to respond to your unfading love. O Savior, I thank you for renewing my soul. Thank you for turning my weariness into life, my fear into faith, and for showing me that even darkness cannot overcome your light. I thank you for a love that does not demand, does not measure, but simply holds me in patience and tenderness. I offer this prayer in the holy name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong and vibrant community of faith.